please welcome our final speaker of the night, Ms. Juliana C.
I didn't know if she knew me. I didn't know if she understood me. I didn't know if she was aware of the impact her life has on me and so many around her. She was famous in the hospitals, in the medical books, in the news. But does she even know? As humans, we need interaction with others to survive. Often we achieve this through communicating and through talking. But what if you can't? What are you supposed to do when you can't tell someone that you love them or that you need them? Well, Nina always finds a way. Nina is an 11-year-old girl with long brown hair and smiling eyes, but there was something special about her. Something that's forced her and her family to adjust in ways most couldn't even imagine. Nina suffers from an extremely rare neurogenetic disorder under the autism umbrella called Angelman syndrome. Under Angelman's, there are another 2 rare syndromes, one of which is Pitt-Hopkins, only affecting 507 children in the world, one of them being Nina. For her whole life, doctors struggled to define Nina's condition as it was never seen before. But they attempted by defining it as an undiagnosed disorder that lies within the spectrum of Angelman's, Rett, and Pitt-Hopkins. In simpler terms, Nina suffers from chronic, life-threatening seizures that causes her to stop breathing, leaving her family on a constant journey to save her life. A couple of years ago, on one October night, everything changed. Her mother, Sam, told me, Nina was lying in my arms when I saw her eyes flickering, jaw locking, lips turning blue, and drool coming from her mouth. She had stopped breathing. After rushing her to the hospital, the doctors informed them that Nina's seizures were coming in rare forms and they weren't going away. Her meds could only do so much, so she needed something more. She needs a seizure alert dog. A seizure alert dog would recognize if Nina was having a seizure and nudge her, reminding her to breathe, while also barking to alert the family. This dog would be her saving grace. It was around this time last year that I got the opportunity to learn about Nina and her family. Sam explained to my mom that Nina loves music. She sits on her iPad and listens to clips from the show The Voice over and over again. That's when my mom mentioned my love for music and suggested that I write a song for Nina and her cause. I jumped at the idea and couldn't wait to meet her. October 28th, 2018. I met Sam, Nina, and her brother Nick for the first time. I remember it like it was yesterday. They're not the type of people you can forget. And not because of Nina's condition, but because of their love and their strength. When Sam opened the door, she let me in, not only into her house, but into the reality of her life. As she led my mom and I through the kitchen, I couldn't help but wonder how Sam could possibly be this positive, considering the obvious situation. But this wonder quickly disappeared when we rounded the corner and I saw her eyes light up like a Christmas tree at the sight of her daughter. I understood right away, because the moment I saw Nina, I forgot about everything else in the world for a second. She was sitting on the floor of her cozy living room in a Minnie Mouse shirt, surrounded by toys, on her iPad, watching a girl from The Voice Belgium sing. She looked up. We locked eyes. But she quickly looked away and continued listening to the performance. Going into this experience, I naively expected Nina to be a lot less functional than she was. But her intelligence is astounding. I was amazed by how she remembered the passcode to her iPad, knew how to navigate YouTube, and organized her toys by profession. Police cars on the right, fire trucks on the left, and school buses in the middle. I sat down on the floor with her, attempting to get a reaction of any kind. I picked up one of the police cars to play with, but I got nothing. She didn't even look up from the iPad. In defeat, I placed the car back down, and without noticing, I put the police car next to the school buses. I learned quickly that I had just made a huge mistake. Nina put her iPad down, looked at me, moved the police car back to its rightful spot, looked at me again, and proceeded to watch her video. In that moment, I realized just how wrong I was. She is so smart. She knew what was going on. She just couldn't communicate it directly because she is nonverbal. But over the time I've been lucky enough to spend with her, I know that not being able to speak has never stopped her from letting everyone know what she has to say. Soon after this first visit, I started a GoFundMe page to raise money for her seizure alert dog. The process of getting one of these dogs is a lot harder than you think. First, you have to find the right breed of dog that specializes in this service. Then, train the dog for almost a year to know how to react to the seizures. And on top of all that, take care of the basic needs that any dog has. When someone explains the dog's importance to Nina's survival, it seems like a pretty obvious decision to get one. However, this obvious decision costs about $26,000. Not so simple anymore. Fortunately, the fundraiser was a big success. In the current moment, we raised exactly $33,036 and still increasing every day. Sam and Nick finally got to pick out a seizure alert dog for Nina. They picked a golden doodle named Nova, and she's been in training to cater to Nina's condition for almost a year now. The family plans to receive her this coming March. As I said earlier, I never knew if Nina recognized me or knew me, even after spending a year with her. I guess I didn't expect her to, but deep down I always hoped that she would give me a sign that she did. A sign that she knew how much I cared, how much I loved her family, and how special I knew she was. This past August, my mom and I met Sam, Nick, and Nina for dinner close to their house. Nina always brings her toys to dinner and changes her mind about where she wants them to sit just about every other minute. I'm so fascinated by her mind, so curious about what she's thinking. Well, at this dinner, I finally got my answer. She knew everything. As we were wrapping up and paying for the check, I looked over at Nina to find her staring at me, studying me like a flashcard. I don't think she blinked for about 2 minutes. Moments later, she pushed herself out of her seat, started walking in my direction, and plopped down right next to me. She looked at me and said, "Nana," which is her version of Juliana. She grabbed my hand and squeezed it tight. There it was, the sign I had been looking for. Still tightly gripping my hand with no intention of letting go, she pulled me out of the restaurant, through the maze of the parking lot, and over to their car. After signaling me to open the car door with the hand she wasn't holding, she proceeded to move all of her toys to the next seat over so that I would have a place to sit. A place right next to her. She knew. She definitely knew. Thank you.